this shot I was shooting with a class, and we were having a great time, but I love the flow and the way everybody was holding their cameras out to shoot her. And this was actually infrared camera I was using with a wide-angle lens, actually the fisheye lens. And her great motion, the veil coming to them. Compositionally, it's a lot of fun. Boom, 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 all the way across. And I like this shot. I think it's a lot of fun. And I just like the feel of all these. These are points that actually create lines. And this is a circular composition because it goes from her, flows up, follow the veil down to them, and it comes back around again, and this is a circular composition. So, nice. This shot, every time I look at it, I just love it because I saw the lines on the wall, and I love these lines. I think they're amazing shadow lines. And I placed her against the wall, and then from that point, my concept was to pose her so that I would get some space from the wall so I could have more shadow from her. And I kept working it so the shadow was working for me. And then I placed her head. I told her to look that direction so I could create a darker line in here to add a little bit of drama to it. I had her arm, a little bit of space between her arm to give the viewer an air space to look through, some more shadow. And then I cropped the bottom of her dress off because I wanted her to feel that she's more part or against the wall and against the shadow, part of the shadow system. If I would have included the feet, then it would add one more dimension of depth that I actually didn't really want. So that's why I cropped that off. And so then she would be part of this. It'd be more two-dimensional than three-dimensional, and that's actually the feeling I wanted, to cut some of that dimensionality out. This image was in a huge warehouse that was just being refurbished, and I found all these objects and then created this room on my own. It's just the idea of playing. You find things and just mess with it. These are all props that you can just find. It's so much fun to find props and play with props. It's all in your own mind. The more you go in, you notice props, you notice things. And this, I just see these things were awesome and so much fun. So I created this little circular room and placed her in there, and then she was on a brick, staying a little higher up. And I said, don't fall. We were trying not to fall in this one, right? So she wouldn't fall into this. That would have been crazy imagery, but there she is, and I think that just works out really good. I let her do her own modeling, and she created a nice S-curve in her body, and what I'm just trying to illustrate is that you can create something. You can actually, this is something really funny. I was in Capri at a wedding, and there was two rooms, and girls were getting ready, and one room had a reflective floor, and it had this beautiful light. So I took everything out of the room, including the refrigerator, everything out, and put it in another room. And then I had a clean room with nothing but curtains, light, and reflective floor. And then I had her put her dress on in there. And I had, incredible shots in there, and then sadly enough, funny enough, I left it all the way it was, and then I took off and we took it shooting, because so they had to put it all back together again. But she was totally happy with that because she wanted the imagery, and I didn't take the time out to put it all back together again. But it was just funny that, she was in the other room, so I wasn't really bugging her or anybody. I just took it all out. So when I want something, I go out and get it, and I make it happen. So awesome. I don't think I was bugging anybody, and we got great shots. So this shot, I'm using my video light again, and I'm shadow casting again. I love that, and I let her play, but I did tell her that I would like to get a little air between her arm and this other arm, so that the shadow had different areas so that you could see all of that. And I like the way she put her arm out like that. It was kind of cool. So I'm using the video light on the side and cast that shadow against the wall, and that added a little more dramatic. You could take the shot without it, but I think the shadow just adds another flavor. In fact, you almost don't, you can't see the shot without the shadow now. It's like, well, I can't see the shot without the shadow. It probably wouldn't even work that well. But with the shadow, it adds this extra kind of punch to it, this extra drama to it that, you can all take a shot of somebody, a model, and that's great. But where do you go from there? How is your viewer going to go from that point? What other interesting things do you have? And you could say, well, this texture is very interesting. Well, yeah, this texture is interesting. But is that texture and her, that interesting? Well, I don't know. Let's do something else. Let's add one more punch. Let's add one more dramatic feel to that composition. And so that light added that. So I think that works out good. There was, oh my gosh, it was hot outside. We're in Italy, and I have this, it was pretty hot, and we were like, oh my gosh, he's gonna keep wearing this coat. And I see the shadow, and oh my gosh, we're all gonna burn up out there. It doesn't really make a difference because these cross-section of shadows from a gate, right? And it was already on the wall. So I just placed him there, and I worked with him for a while. And ultimately, though, the play of shadow on him worked better, and I wanted to create an abstract concept. It was already abstract as it was, so I cropped him in different, on purpose, in camera. This is not cropped afterward. This is straight out of camera. And so I cropped here, here, and here to add a different dimension to it, and ultimately I think that it has a very interesting, image. I didn't need his eyes. I love this. He has just, these are awesome masculine lips and masculine face, and these lines really added to something unusual here. And he's actually, no lie, he's actually probably 4 feet from the wall. But these shadows were awesome and working out really great. So.